All right, cool. All right, so today, new episode of the podcast. We're brought in by the infamous G himself. Do you want to kind of go into a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm Infamous G. I'm from Reston, Virginia. I'm a rapper, producer, engineer, videographer, and also digital marketer now. I guess
Cool.
just all about creativity, manifestation, um, going after what you truly want to do, and firm believer that we're here on Earth to help each other out, to serve each other.
I like that. So I noticed you said the manifestation, so I'll get into that. But first, you mentioned you're in Reston, or you're from Reston, and I'm from Ashburn, so fairly close to Reston. I was actually born in Reston. What brought you down to Richmond, where you ultimately met Ilias and then connected with us?
I went to VCU, so I graduated from there in 2015, and then just through music and stuff, got connected with him, and we've just been working with each other, and he's now become a close friend of mine.
Gotcha.
Brother, family.
Very cool.
Yeah, and for the music making, did that start at VCU? Because I know it's a very art-focused school, or did you have that passion going into college?
So I kind of started writing music when I was in high school, and then as time developed and stuff, I was still getting my sound together, and then college is when I was like, how am I gonna make myself more distinct? Inspired by Kanye West, J. Cole, start producing my own stuff. Then I figured, how else can I be different? Started engineering, recording myself, and started recording other people. So I work at a studio as well, recording, engineering other people. And then when Russ broke down the gates, I was like, wow, he walked so people like me can run. And I was like, how else am I gonna get more distinct? Let me start shooting videos too. And now it's the whole music process has those three lanes kind of shifted into one whole thing. And videos is just now its own tree that's grown and is growing on its own.
Yeah.
Very cool. That's awesome. So cool. So how did you get into the whole I guess writing music part? Were you just kind of coming with inspiration just through what you were doing in high school, or was there kind of outside factors, maybe things that you like to do outside or hobbies or something like that?
Stuff I was going through in high school. Where I'm at now is kind of crazy. I would say I wasn't the most popular, and then I was always picked on and bullied. But where I'm at now is that actually I was popular, because I lived rent free in everybody's mind. You were bothered that I existed. But at the time too, I was also kind of fed up with stuff on the radio, which is kind of crazy for me to say, because now I look back and I'm like, man, all those songs are classics. Those are lit. I just know using your voice, speaking about things that you're going through and stuff, there's somebody else out there, many others that are going through it too, and you can help inspire and motivate. And I definitely believe that somewhere on the earth, someone has had the same experiences as you have.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it seems like everyone kind of has that within them. They just got to find whatever route is the best way to express it. And it sounds like you kind of figured that out with yours. So going into the whole independent route, where you do the writing, the production, and the videography, is that kind of the trend that you're noticing more of nowadays, or is that something that you just wanted to start learning every single thing about the music production itself?
I think, well, at the time it was more about learning about it and stuff, wanting to know more about the process, because it just makes you more valuable just in general. And as well, it just helps. And various Russ interviews, he's even said it too. You cut through a lot of bullshit knowing what's going on, because there's been a lot of artists that I've worked with and talked to who talked about being in the studio and the engineer saying that they're doing something, but they know they're not doing it. And it's that's why it's good to understand the plugins and the mechanics of it, because then you can really shake someone up, just start throwing out plugins where they need to be,
Yeah.
type of levels they need to be, because then they're gonna be like, oh wow, this man knows his shit. Let me start actually doing my job and stop bullshitting them. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just about to say that it sounds like because of all that experience that you were able to acquire throughout the years, you've been able to kind of hold your recording sessions or the engineers or other engineers to a higher level of accountability.
Almost, yeah. To me, it's just like, look, like where we want to go and stuff, there's really no time for breaks. If you have to take a break, good. Like rest is equally as important, you know. But you know, when it's time to get back to it, discipline is what really keeps you, is going to make or break. And discipline is doing something even though when you don't want to do it.
Yeah, so with like the song, like the artistic creation of like music, do you start with writing the song still like you did back in high school, or do you, like, now that you know like the beat production, like do you start with the beat, or like what is like the first kind of like catalyst in your mind when you want to create a new music song?
I start with the beat now always, because producers, and it kind of sucks where producers are right now, but things are changing now in the entertainment industry, and they're now starting to get better like treatment, which engineers also need better treatment too. But production is where it all starts. Like there can't be no song without the production, unless you're trying to do, you know, spoken word and stuff that, you know, that's with acapella based.
Yeah.
Everything starts with the production, and like production can go far, like extremely far just by itself. I know there's several artists that all three of us know that we probably listened to in the past that didn't have any lyrics at all, and we were just vibing just with the sounds they put in. You know, we're cruising, or just, you know, sunset, like just looking out the window or something, and just like we get into like that happy space where we're trying to be at, you know. So production's key. So I start off with melody. Like when I write music now, I'll usually make a melody, or I'll find a loop, or I'll sample something, and I'll usually just have that going on. And the only thing really I'll probably add is just the clap or the hi-hats, because those are little timestamps for me, like measurement wise. So from there, I'll probably write out everything, then I'll just start throwing in all the drums and the percussion and counter melodies as needed. But it also varies. Sometimes I'll make the whole beat and then I'll start writing too. But most of the stuff that I've done lately has been just melody and with like a clap or so. And then it's like I can add dynamics, and the way you start adding different sounds and take them away can change the way I could write or not write, or just the way it kind of now all based off each other now where I'm at with it.
Yeah, for sure. You know, one aspect when we're always listening to music, it's interesting to see how different frequencies, or at least different tones or pitches of the music or the instrumental, can really change how you perceive the music. You know, just by changing the pitch of something, it can make it either really happy or really sad, that kind of tone. So it sounds like that's something that you practice.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's the frequencies have a lot to do with like just how we feel. There's a lot of sound frequencies that actually can heal us too. Janaea Aiko's Chilumbo album that she recently released, each song was recorded at a different frequency. And I forget the frequency numbers, but I know the standard number that we have now, which is like 432 or 442,
440?
is actually 440. Yeah, that actually was created during like the World War II era, and it's actually a disruptive frequency. They say it's a standard, but the true sonic of like our body and with the earth and stuff is like 432. And if you tune 432 stuff to 432, and like pour water on a speaker, you'll see that the water will vibrate in a way that's so beautiful, and it will start creating patterns. And just seeing, and when it's at regular 440, it's all disruptive. So it gets into a pattern, you know, like that. It's on point. It's in tune, and everything's a vibration. So If you're able to vibrate at a frequency you like, you'll be able to experience and manifest like anything you want.
I completely agree. And yeah, those frequencies, I'm pretty sure they're called solfeggio frequencies, but if our bodies are like 70% water and you see it on like the speaker and it's like forming those patterns, I can only imagine like what's going on within. But yeah, no, personally, I actually do listen to those kind of like healing frequencies every single night. Like, I have like a Google Home behind my bed, and I just play it on like fairly soft sounds. And I know like the different numbers. It's actually kind of interesting. If you have like on your keyboard, it goes like 1, 2, 3, then above is like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's just all those numbers like going down in a row. Which I don't know how that all works out, but yeah, I mean, I have a whole playlist on my on like our Discord that I can share with you if you'd like to listen to some at night.
Oh yeah, that'd be amazing. And like listening to those and while going to sleep is actually very perfect too, because it's the best time to manifest is when you wake up in the morning. Like, don't pick up your phone, like, and it's hard to catch it. You have to practice it because like we get already immediately thoughts, and when you're going to sleep too. So for me, I practice it when I'm going to sleep because I've actually been able to try and catch myself moments before like that body press happens, and you know, like the rest of your body is like turning off, and where sleep paralysis can come. Sleep paralysis, it seems scary. You feel like, well, one, you can't move, your whole body's shut down, but your mind is active, and it feels like there's somebody in my room or something, you know, in the corner, but that's just your imagination. But in those moments right there, that's where you can start lucid dreaming, you can astral project, you could access the Akashic records, and you can manifest and change your whole world.
Yeah, I actually been kind of playing around with that. I saw this challenge. It's called the ladder challenge, where as you're falling asleep, you're supposed to imagine yourself as vividly as possible, just like climbing a ladder, like one arm and one hand at a time. You're going up and down the ladder as much as you can, and you do that as you're falling asleep. And you're supposed to do it for like a few days, and within a week, you're supposed to somehow manifest a ladder into your life and actually like end up on a ladder. I did it for one night, and then like 3 or 4 days later, I was actually like, my parents asked me to come paint the house with them out of nowhere, and I actually was on a ladder, and I took a picture, and that was very surreal to me. I feel like if I can do it for a ladder, then I can do it for anything else.
That's fire. Yeah, I use the rope technique. So I'll think of myself pulling myself out of my body with a rope. And there was one time too, though, that I did the rollout technique, where you roll out your body. I was on my couch at my parents' house, and I remember they were in the kitchen, you know, chefing up dinner, having conversation. And I remember just taking a nap on the couch, and I felt my eyes like shake or like vibrate, and I was just like, like, what's that? And then like all of a sudden I rolled out, and I remember like sitting right next to like my body and like my coffee table. I was like, holy fuck, like you just started astral projecting. Holy fuck. I was in shock, and I couldn't move because I was like, what the fuck? Like, I did not mean to do this, but holy shit. And I'm still hearing my parents talk in the kitchen and stuff, and I'm just like, this is really happening. And then like, boom, like kind of like woke up, and I was like, yo, hold on. Let me, and then I try and do it again, and I did it again. And I felt, and I felt it coming, because I was like, I felt the vibration behind my eyes. And it's like one of those shakes, you know how they do in the movies, like you'll see like the whole room kind of shakes, like they're about to go like through like a portal or something. It felt like it felt like someone shaking me.
Yeah, it's always that realization that you're actually like doing it that always snaps me right back to my body. I'm like, man, I gotta stay cool and like stay calm.
Yeah. And after I did that, though, it was a couple of days later, I actually started astral projecting, and it was dope because I remember waking up after astral projecting, taking a piss, and coming back, and I was like, all right, we're going back. And I was able to go back, and I went to the Akashic records that time, but I didn't get to enter them. I got up to the door, and I knew it was them because like I remember seeing like it was like looking at Hogwarts almost. And I was about to enter, and then my alarm went off, and I was like, why did I set this alarm so early?
Yeah, no, I definitely I like that a lot. Whenever I'm like kind of in that zone or like that kind of like astral projection, I like to just kind of hammer in like the I am statements. Where like I just like don't have like a clue of what I'm saying, but I'm just trying to like talk, like kind of try to access like the Akashic records by just like straight tapping into it and like answering my own questions without even asking the question. And I found that pretty empowering. But yeah, when Alex and I were roommates, we had another roommate that he wanted to test my astral projection. So he hid a random object behind his couch in his room that I would never see like during the days. And he said, if you can see this object in your like astral projections, then I'll finally be like, I'll turn a believer and I'll start practicing it myself. I tried so many times, but I just couldn't see it for some reason. I don't know. There's some kind of mental block about that, but I always want to go back and kind of like travel through time and see if I can find it.
There's when a lot of people lucid dream, and lucid dreams is almost the same as astral projection. But one thing I remember hearing, and which is actually true, is you can't see any clocks when you're astral projecting. And that's how you'll know if you're like dreaming or not too. Like when you're trying to look at a clock, it won't really be there. You can't find one.
Yeah. Do you have experience lucid dreaming? Because I feel like that's something I've been trying to get more into.
I've had a few experiences. One way to get really good at it is you have to keep a journal.
Yeah.
And you have to write as soon as you wake up. Like, don't look at your phone. You have to write down your dream so you can remember. Because a lot of times we forget, like like few moments after waking up. But if you start like jotting down, like even small notes, like, oh, Sonic the Hedgehog was in it. I was at a hill and there was a White House. Like that's good enough. And then like the more you do that and stuff, like you'll start to remember more and more, and then it becomes easier. There's this guy I went to college with. His name is Drew, if I remember correctly. But he was a practicer of lucid dreaming, and he had a whole dream journal. And I remember him showing it. And it was just like dates, just like little notes like that about it. And then like as you flip the pages, the notes became bigger and more, and like started becoming sentences and paragraphs and pages.
Yeah, no, I actually do have a dream journal just like that, where I put the date in the top left, and then with my eyes closed, I'll just kind of scribble it like whatever I can remember. And at this point, it is actually getting to like maybe like 5 to 7 dreams a night, which like I say different dreams because they're completely different settings with different people. And I'm remembering like as much vivid detail as possible, but for some reason, just like there's something about the dreams that I don't recognize that I'm actually dreaming in the moment. It's like, I don't know if that's something I should just be enjoying, that I'm having such vivid dreams. There's like movies every single night, even though I'm not like physically, like I don't feel like consciously present in them.
Yeah, no, it's hard to catch yourself when you're in it sometimes, because we get so into the dream and we're having so much fun, but then you kind of wake up in it and you're like, hold on. And by the time you wait, like you're realizing your alarm is about to go off or something, and it's like, damn it, why did I wait so long?
Yeah. No, I also found like before I fall asleep, the last thing I'll do is I'll try to like either go through like my day and kind of journal like my feelings about the day, and kind of just take myself to like an emotional like 0 state, like my baseline. And I'll try to like draw pictures or any kind of like creative like act of actually like writing, because sometimes like writing words gets boring to me, so I'll try to draw or something like that, and that has really helped me have like better dreams at night. So that's something I do recommend.
That's fine. Yeah. One thing I recommend people that do want to lucid dream is you can't smoke weed.
Yeah.
If you smoke weed, you have to. If you do smoke weed, you have to like take a break for a couple of days, and usually about 2 days to 3 days later, you'll start dreaming again.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I thought about that a lot. It's like weed almost makes your like real life days like a dream. You know, like I feel like you almost have like an energy source that you can put towards dreaming, and you like if you smoke, then that source is going towards like your waking hours, and you have like none left over when you're asleep. I don't really. That's just my bro science explanation for it.
I feel like it just kind of clouds your mind when you're trying to dream, and you can't get like, you know, solid like visions out almost.
Yeah.
Definitely. What I've noticed, especially when I was talking to Andrew, especially when we first met, he introduced me to the whole different frequencies of the 432 and stuff. But even prior to that, there would be times when I would be dreaming and I would realize that I'm in the dream, and from there I would be able to make decisions and kind of put my mind to a place where I could cause things within the dream to happen. So if I wanted to fly, I could tell myself, let's start flying, and that would happen. I'm not quite sure how that came or where that came from, but I would love to get very proficient at it. And it sounds like you guys are definitely close to it.
Yeah, I mean, it almost.
I hope so.
Yeah, right. It seems like you're almost unlocking like a whole like third of your life if you're able to like be like in control of your dreams. Because if we're spending like a third of our days asleep, or like a fourth of our days asleep, then it's almost like right now that's kind of like off limits. Like that time is not really like ours. But with lucid dreaming, it seems like kind of taking back control of that.
Mm-hmm. And like when we were talking about manifestation too, it's you're able to really like see yourself in areas too. So like if you guys ever heard Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's actually a professional at manifestation. He was a neuroscientist, PhD grade and everything, and he discovered that the law of attraction is actually quantum physics. And when it comes to frequencies and stuff, which since we're all a vibration, our brainwaves are always going at alpha when we're awake. And what you want to do is bring them down to beta. Then moments when you're like, when your body's shutting down, when it stops itching and trying to move, and it's like, oh, your body's ready for sleep, your brainwaves go to theta wave states, which is very slow. It's almost hard to like, sometimes like when you try and speak stuff, manifesting, I am this, I am that. In that state, it's hard to, it's like your mouth is like heavy. It's hard to speak sometimes. Like you'll say your sentence, but only half the sentence will come out and the rest is set in your head. But at those moments too, when you start saying that, that's when you're actually really accessing your subconscious. And our reality, the reality we see every day, is based off your subconscious. If your subconscious doesn't believe something is true, what you want, if it doesn't believe it, it's not going to happen. But once it starts believing it, you'll start to slowly see like that to appear.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And like Alex, what you just said in your dreams, like if you like became lucid in your dreams, you're like, I want to fly, and then you just started flying. Like really, like I don't really see a difference between that in your dreams and like your waking state. Like at some point, you kind of have to believe in yourself, and like you can accomplish these things, and then you have to like kind of see it as like a possibility. And I think a lot of people, they hold such negative thoughts within their mind, and over time that's gonna like mold into like their subconscious mind. That's like ultimately going to manifest their reality, and then they start complaining, and that's just like a very disempowering route to go down. But I think a lot of people can really use that, what you just said, to really change their lives, or like at least their outlook on life.
For sure. That movie that Leonardo DiCaprio was in, what was it called again?
Inception.
Inception. That movie, it has a whole lot of truth. Like everything that they're talking about is a legitimate thing. And like if you're having a bad dream and you want to get out of it, you have to kill yourself in the dream, and you'll wake up immediately. If you're like getting stuck, and then like how he spins the dreidel in the mind, like the idea of something that's possible, that's accessing the subconscious realm and stuff. And the movie has a whole lot of truth, and it goes over a lot of people's heads, just like The Matrix.
Definitely. I think especially in today's day and age, it's really easy for people to be negative, and they're just negative all the time, and then they don't realize that that's really affecting themselves. And so kind of breaking that realm and forcing yourself to think positively, you kind of change your outlook, and you see everyone acting very differently, and you kind of start believing yourself a lot more and manifesting, and things that you truly believe that you can do, you end up accomplishing. And I think that's something that more people should start getting into, especially now when we're just surrounded by so many like negative aspects.
It's so easy to be negative. Negativity, to be honest, like it's being positive every day. And like some people will complain, oh, why are they always so positive and stuff? And it's like, you know, it might not be easy for them, because positivity is a daily practice. Negativity is literally gravity. Every day we're pushed down by 9.8 pounds.
Meters per second.
Per second, yeah. And that's negativity. Like you're not gonna get pushed to the ground, you know, like when Goku and Vegeta got to King Kai's place and the gravity was like extra heavy. You're not gonna sit there getting pushed by gravity. You have to stand up and start walking every day, and that's positivity.
I've been thinking a lot about like gravity and like ties to consciousness, because like right now, like in the vacuum of space, there is no beings or anything out there, and like any like planet, they have like gravity to it. I think there's some kind of connection there between like just everyday objects that maybe have like very low levels of consciousness, like a rock or a tree or something like that, I think overall that is somehow tied to some level of gravity and consciousness. But that's, I don't know, that's a whole different topic. But tying it back into music, do you ever feel like you want to share these kind of like messages in your songs? And if so, is it like challenging to kind of fit that into a song where some people either want to kind of like relate to it more and a lot of them are negative, or like you want to like kind of express yourself? Or yeah,
it's easy to, you know, you have the idea, so it's kind of like you take the idea like, oh, like raise consciousness, or I guess whatever like you're trying to really say. The hard part now is how you're gonna say it in a clever way that makes someone turn their head or laugh. And that's where the creativity, like, oh, that was sweet what he said. I like the way he did that, because we've all had those moments where we had one of our favorite artists say something, and it was like it's just the way they said it, how they said it with the beat and everything. It just kind of hit in a different way, and it could be the most cliche thing ever, you know, like those cliche sayings. There's a lot of truth to them, as cliche as they may be, but it's truth. Mm-hmm. And the only thing with truth is nobody likes the truth. Yep. And because sometimes it's as complex as it is, it's actually very simple. And I was just watching, I've seen the little interview clip a whole bunch of times, but the same interview clip came back from Pitbull, and he was saying the same thing, and he was just like, you know, just work hard. And like people be like, oh, Pitbull, you're so lucky. And he was like, you know what's funny about that? The harder I work, the luckier I get.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree with that. And you know, one thing that really attracted me to you was I was on your TikTok and I saw like the new song you came out with, Better Days. I saw you did some like Genius Deconstructed. I kind of want to go into that a little bit. So one of the lines in your chorus says, there were times we were down bad, but we knew we'd see better days. Mm-hmm. And that really struck with me. So like, is that kind of one of the aspects that you were saying of trying to come up with a creative way to, I guess, relate to your audience?
Yeah, so like my hook was kind of like, I had like lines like, these were times, broken microwaves couldn't even heat a plate and stuff. Like, mm-hmm. I didn't have, like, there was a time in college I didn't have a microwave, but I'm sure there was times where people just didn't have a microwave in general. And like, I remember Waka Flocka Flame said this, and he said like, you should never just commit suicide, because if you commit suicide when you're down, you don't get a chance to see your life get better. And it's hard, and it's very hard for some people, because negativity, like gravity, it's always coming down, and if you get caught in that cycle, it's hard. But you know, it's a practice. You don't get like shredded doing 10 push-ups one time. You get shredded doing 10 push-ups and 20, then 30, and then more, like every day consistently. And anytime that someone's down, like I never look past anybody. Like someone might be down or looking, you know, as people would say, whack one day, but it's like, yo, like everyone's on their own journey, and this person might be still trying to find themselves. As soon as they find themselves, you're gonna be mad sorry that like you treated them wrongly, when all they could have had was, you know, words of encouragement, or, you know, some positivity. Or instead of like downplaying them, why don't you educate them on what you know, and like maybe how to act or speak, you know, that could have helped them get further. And then maybe whatever was bothering with you, because it relates back to that person who's being bothered. Like you have an issue with yourself because of this, you know? Like they will probably, one, it will help you helping them, but then two, you know, you never know how far that could like change someone's life. I remember Dane Cook had like a joke where he talked about like that kid in school that was weird. I was nice to him, you know? Then one day he came with a gun, started shooting everybody, and he looked at me and he was like, thanks for the Snickers, and kept it pushing.
Yeah, no, I like what you said about like these people trying to find themselves. I really do believe that's like one of the, if not the most important journey that like one can embark on. And it seems like it's crazy to me that there's really no way that you can like teach someone to do that besides just kind of giving them support in their own journey and kind of guide them in whatever way feels best to them. And like right now, it doesn't seem like there's any kind of educational system that's really even considering that to be a part of life.
No. I believe that's more or less taught in other cultures compared here in America, fortunately. Like right now we're dealing with Joe Biden breaking his promise to us on like student loan relief. So it's just like, oh. But at the same time, there's like, if you go to other cultures, they practice these type of things. They practice meditation for kids. Like I know in China and Tokyo and Japan, they have that part of like kids' daily regimen growing up, so they understand how to process their emotions and their thoughts. So it's just, I don't know, it's just here, I feel like just in America, there needs to just be a whole reform of government and education system just in general. Like throw everything away, let's restart, let's do the right thing.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think we were kind of stuck in this mentality where it's, oh, we've been doing this for so long, why are we going to change it now? And I think it's at this point, we should definitely consider thinking about it, because we have a lot of people where we don't really know who they are. We don't even know who we are, you know? I think a major part of living life is discovering who you are, and that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. And when you're bogged down with all these assignments when, you know, they may or may not be helpful and they're just causing all this unnecessary stress, why don't we kind of teach kids how to, you know, be themselves and be comfortable in the situations that they are, and approach them with a lot more emotional support. I think that's lacking in especially our society. Maybe not in other cultures, but I think it's something that we should be working on for sure.
Oh no, for sure. Especially like school and stuff. Like we all know someone or know somebody that knows somebody, and we've all heard about other people just in general at school who couldn't deal with the stress and, you know, unfortunately took themselves. There was a few people that I knew somebody in college that did that, and there was just other, you know, there was people that it happened to. Like my freshman year, apparently somebody jumped out one of the dorm rooms, and it was like the 13th floor, and that's crazy. And then like we're in Virginia, so College of William and Mary, they had the highest suicide rate at their school, and I just feel like it's so much unnecessary pressure that doesn't need to be there, and it could be like better. But then again, I also believe that's on not our fault, but it is our responsibility to recognize that like our mentors are from a different generation. The baby boomers, they're from that generation where it's, you know, hard work, 9 to 5, 401k, whereas our generation now is very entrepreneurial. We all understand that there's so many different ways, and school isn't necessarily needed to be successful. I think I kind of agree with Gary Vee that school is, you know, a networking platform. You go there and network, make connections, because you never know when someone's gonna come up. And like saying before, you're nice to someone, they're gonna remember that. People remember how you made them feel.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean, I find it pretty exciting that we are born in this time where we could see like a whole fundamental change to how society functions, as opposed to like us being born as like Neanderthals, just trying to get some food and survive for the next day. They really, I feel like there's almost a greater purpose to like why we are here at this time in such a pivotal point in like history. And I've been trying to dig deeper into like what is the most meaningful role that like I myself can play, because of course like I'm probably not going to be the one that changes every single aspect of human life as we know it, and I'm just trying to see like what is the most important role that I can play for those around me, both immediately and also as like a collective. Yeah. Yeah, but Alex, do you have a question?
You know, just elaborating on the whole thing, especially about being empathetic. A lot of times we need someone to lean to, you know, someone to talk to. I think in our society it's pretty hard to open up, and I know a lot of people that they won't open up, and that's kind of one way that I establish trust with people, is their ability to be vulnerable. And I feel like sometimes too, like it's kind of looked down upon And that's kind of a shame, because as a society, we shouldn't be looking down on that. We should be supporting people that are willing to open themselves up for, especially like being critiqued and judged by others. I think that's a really strong characteristic to have.
No, for sure. I believe what kind of needs to just be known when people opening up, like anything good, all good comes with bad. The yin and yang. There's no light without dark. So knowing that, and knowing that it's going to come regardless, can kind of help set you knowing, you know, all right, that's going to come with it. But at the same time, what's funny is that negativity, that hate, like hate is the same as love, just displayed in an incorrect way. It's the same
really
energy.
Interesting. That's such a really interesting way and kind of beautiful way to look at it.
Like, you shouldn't be mad that someone's hating. And it's like, it's funny because it's like, I always think back in the movie Straight Outta Compton. They're coming back and everyone's they're on the tour bus and everyone's like outside taking their stuff, CDs, burning it, and it's just like Eazy-E is just like, you know what, like you can do whatever with it. You still support us. You still bought it.
Yeah, and that whole idea of like being open to critique and kind of learning from it without being like almost like feeling it like as an abusive like message. And as you like are creating these songs, do you feel like you're almost putting yourself out there to just be open to judgment, and that's ultimately growing you in a way? Or like what's your take on the hate and the love that you receive through your music?
Oh, absolutely. It comes with it. Like no one can be liked by everybody. And that is a fact. No, you can't be liked by everyone. Nonetheless, you don't like everyone either. Like, you have to put yourself out there, because at the end of the day, too, the fact that you're being vulnerable about it, someone is going to relate to you, and they probably don't have the confidence enough to put themselves out there like that, but they can do it through what you're saying and relate to your lyrics, you know? Like Better Days, like with my song, that for me, that I was being vulnerable with myself almost, you know. That song is more of like a championship song for me. Like, I'm happy that where I've gotten to now, where it's like I've overcome these type of things. I grew up dealing with a lot of people breaking down my confidence, very external looking, looking for validation instead of validating myself. But where I'm at now was like the result of Better Days is like, you know, like better days are always gonna come, and like trust yourself, believe yourself, you know. You have to see things through. You can't, just because it seems hard, like you might be closer than you think. But a lot of people live their lives just tunnel vision, not like, which is also a good thing too, being you're focused, but don't cover up so much where you can't see. Like, instead, you know, like throw on like the shade, the see-through shade, you know, like where you can still see everything, but like, you know, you're not getting like completely put out in the dark or whatever.
Yeah, no, it seems like it has to be that duality of you're focused on like your own lane, but you're also open to what's around you and what people have to say about it. So yeah, I definitely agree.
One of the best things I learned, and it was from Dr. Joe Dispenza, was, you know, you have to feel your emotions. Like, don't get consumed by them, because that's where it leads you to the negative cycle of like anger, hate, whatever. But feel them, you know, cry if you need to. Like, if you're embarrassed about, go to your room, or go with people that you love and, you know, love you back, where you can cry. And the fact that they're just there, you know, that just helps. Like, they don't have to say anything, but the fact that like you're able to do that around them, you know, and then they're gonna pass you some water, ask you if you're hungry, and make you eat, even if you're like, nah, you know, eat, because it's gonna help your body. You know, that's some love right there, for real. Because health is a huge part as well too. A lot of people go without eating, but that's a whole another conversation. But if you're not eating and you're eating and you're filling your body with junk, you probably see a lot more angrier and disappointed days than you do if you're eating healthy wise, you know, high frequency food. like apple, things that are grown from the earth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this interesting quote that I always kind of go back to. It's sweet is never sweet without the bitter, and I always try and go back to that, especially in like the harder times, because it makes me recognize like this could be hard now, but better things are coming in the future. Let me remember all those good times that I had, because you know they weren't always like that. There was always something that I had to go through beforehand to get to that point. And when I'm able to kind of look back and even in the moment kind of feel what I'm feeling, understand my emotions, it definitely helps me process the situation a lot better. And even with Andrew, like there's times like last night, you know, I was stressed out and I was able to call him up, and just like a simple conversation was able to help me through. And I think being able to rely on people that are willing to walk you through situations and talk you through them helps significantly.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Just somebody doesn't even have to say anything. Just the fact that you can just, you know, they can listen. And at the same time, for the person that is listening, you also have to know that like you're there and, you know, not as something to absorb that energy, but knowing yourself and knowing what you're doing, like they just need someone to listen to, like, because energy transfer is real too. And you don't want to lay something out on somebody, because then they might start carrying that too. But as a listener, if you're able to listen without like, you know, with consciously knowing, look, they just need to lay some stuff out, but me, like, I know I'm good. You're able to deflect that energy into, you know, elsewhere. That doesn't need, and why I say elsewhere is because energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It's already here.
Yeah.
And going back to frequencies, as we were talking about, frequencies, we're all radios. Like our body vessels are radios. So if you start tuning into that frequency, you're going to start getting that frequency attracted to you. So it's best to, you know, when you're dealing with someone on a low frequency, you know, remember, keep yourself at a high frequency. If you start to feel like you absorb, start tuning into a higher frequency. Affirmations, eat something good, drink some water. There's a lot I saw somebody tweet the other day that they started having water for the first time in 20 years. It's like your body's made out of that. Like, what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was absolutely amazed when I found out how people don't like. I heard the other day somebody doesn't like the taste of water, you know, or like they don't even eat fruits, and I'm like, how do you survive? You know, these are like, this is so much of your body. You know, this is like basic nutrition that you need to absorb. You know, this is probably why you don't feel that good, or why you have like, you know, your bad thoughts or something like that.
100%.
I was talking to Josh. He's like one of our team members, and he said that he used to eat a ton of chocolate, and he would, over time it got less and less sweet, and eventually took a whole like month off, and he tried chocolate again, and the flavor was so much more vibrant, and it really made me think about how if we're kind of going hard in our days, like over and over, kind of like stressing out, you take a whole like kind of break off, and you come back and it's like even stronger. Like your motivation's back. You're kind of back to being high vibrational. For you personally, do you have any kind of ways to kind of raise your vibe, or just kind of get back into like a grounded state?
Yeah, so affirmations help. Well, first thing actually I do is I double check if I have drinking enough water and if I've eaten correctly, because these are machines. Food and water is our gasoline. Yeah. Right? And depending on what food and liquid you're putting in your body, are you putting in, you know, premium gasoline, or are you putting in some dirt? And everything like as above is below and stuff, and like it's very true. So like a lot of things very much mimic like everyday things, like the car and gasoline situation. Same with our bodies, you know. Yeah. So I'll check if I've drank enough water. And it's funny, when I notice I haven't drank enough water. So I have one of those, not a hydro flask. I have a different version now. I got this thing called a Dylan, and the Dylan has something that you put at the bottom, and it's a bunch of beads that change your water to alkaline water. Wow. And alkaline water is actually very good for us. It has a higher pH. Having higher pH in our body helps us raise our vibration even more. But I'll I'll chug an entire 40 ounce because it's 40 ounce. So I'll drink all that, and I'll know it's 5 minutes later, I'm actually starting to feel better. And then I'll have some food, some good food, you know, and I'll tell myself affirmations. Like I'll tell myself, because it's just like a practice. Like it's almost like you're carrying a boulder of negativity, but every time you tell yourself something, like you're making new neural pathways of your mind. You're like doing surgery on yourself, your subconscious. And the more you say it, like I tell people, like I tell some of my friends when I see them in a negative spot, I'll tell them that like, we're gonna stop what we're doing. What you're gonna do is you're gonna say positive affirmations right now and repeat them. Like don't stop, like, oh, I'm feeling, like, no, do it. You're gonna feel better. And I've even had one of my friends is like, I'm not laughing because like I think this is fine. I'm laughing because it's actually working. And like they start feeling in a better mood because like now their subconscious is starting to change and believe it. Because if you say something to yourself once, it's like doing one push-up and calling it a day. Yeah. But if you do 100 push-ups, you're gonna feel it. You know, sure. You say it one time, some negativity is gonna be like, nah. But if you say it 5 times, your negativity is now gonna be shook and be like, hold on, maybe. But now you're saying it 10 times, that negativity is gone. Your mind changes, and it's like, all right, you know what? Yeah, I do believe this is true.
And when you're making music, do you ever play certain frequencies or something to kind of get yourself in like a stream of consciousness that prepares you or focuses you for making music?
Sometimes. Usually I find it with like whatever the melody. I always usually start with melodies sometimes, but if I don't start with melody and I'll just start making the beat, I don't know. I kind of like, I feel it out. Where I'm at with music, I was telling someone this the other night. I used to be very strict on like positioning of sounds and like what needs to be in keys. But now where I'm at with it, I'm going off feeling. Like, how does this feel? Sometimes I won't like quantize, which is lining up all my keys together and stuff. And I'll leave it natural because it gives a different feel. And when I'm feeling blocked, anytime you feel blocked in anything, you just have to do more of the thing you're trying to do. That's how you get over writer's block or athlete's block, any type of block. You have to work your way through it. So different practice. If I'm feeling blocked and like I need inspiration, I might put on some frequencies here and there. I've done it before. I'll go watch old interviews or listen to some old songs that I really liked, or old people that I've inspired by. Like I'll go listen to old Lil Wayne, because like that man was on a run back between like 2006 and 2014. That one of the craziest times for his music career. Or like I'll try and find something new. Like if I'm trying to be lyrical, I'll listen to like some lyrical rappers. If I'm trying to be like hype and more on like the rage type beats and stuff, I'll listen to Trippie Redd, Cardi, and like I'll go through the rabbit hole of YouTube and find artists that are similar, that are on the come up, because they're coming out with newer sounds that haven't been heard yet. And I'll kind of like gain inspiration from that. Sometimes I might not listen to anything at all, and I'll actually take a moment to like watch TV. When it comes to TV and stuff too, I watch a lot of anime. I got a Crunchyroll account, and why I watch anime is not weird for people who watch it.
Love it.
Anime does the things that American TV will not do. And it should be sweet. Like, you want to see someone get fucked up? Like, oh, there's someone getting uppercut, and you're seeing their teeth going everywhere. Like, oh, what? You want to see like some romance and stuff? Like, there's that too. You want to see like some futuristic adventure type stuff? Oh, they got that. I'll just take like, if I'm really feeling blocked and stuff, I also tell myself like, look, you've been locked up too for a while. Go experience some stuff, and I'll try and go do something I haven't done. And it could be anything, honestly.
I think ultimately it comes down to like recognizing that you are facing a, like whether it be a writing block or athlete's block, you're kind of conscious of like your present moment. And ultimately that comes down to not being mentally like you're focusing on some kind of past trauma or some stressor that's affecting your life right now. And I think what you said before about like the food and the water, like that's a really good like kind of grounding state to really bring yourself back to like how you're actually feeling your body. And unfortunately, we do have to kind of end the podcast here in a few minutes, but do you have any kind of closing statements that you'd like others to hear?
Just believe and trust in yourself. The reality that you see yourself wanting to live already exists. You just have to start tuning into it. And there's a big guy that I listened to that actually got me onto the manifestation route. His name's Charlie Rocket. He was the manager of Travis Porter and 2 Chainz. And he got big into Joe Dispenza and manifestation. This man was like 380 pounds, had a brain tumor, and reversed all that with manifestation and won an Ironman. And like where I really found out it was real was he talked about how he wanted to be an athlete. He told 2 Chainz, you know, like, I have a tumor, bro. Like, this is not my practice life. And 2 Chainz fully supportive, you know. He said that he wanted to be a Nike athlete and in a commercial with Michael Jordan and Serena Williams. Where it came to my Genius Deconstructed that I made was actually based off him, because it's my form of manifestation. He made his own Nike commercial. He wrote down manifestation book that he would find a videographer that, you know, would help him with a whole bunch. And 2 hours later, the guy actually walked into his house to meet up with his roommate at the time. The guy was a videographer, colorist, engineer, producer, helped him film his own Nike commercial. And it's on YouTube. I think it has like 1 million views, which is dope. And like at the end, it said, you know, insert Nike logo here. Nike saw the commercial 3 days later, and they flew him out to their sports complex. And that following year, he won the Ironman. And the Super Bowl came out, which was the Colin Kaepernick commercial. And he was in it for their Nike segment, or for their Ironman segment. And who else was in it? LeBron James and Serena Williams. I think I said Michael Jordan before, but it was LeBron James.
Wow.
And I was
That's
like,
incredible.
whoa, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, there's certainly a lot to unpack further in next podcast, and we'd love to have you on again, dig deeper into everything.
Yeah, no,
this is great.
All right, well, until next time, I appreciate it. And yeah, do you want to drop your socials or where people can find your music at?
Sure, y'all can find me at on Instagram, Infamous G _ and Infamous G on all platforms. The S in Infamous is a $.
Got it. Yeah, we'll link everything in the bios too. And yeah, it sounds good. It was a great conversation. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. No, thank you for having me.
Of course.